Welcome back, history buffs. Today, we're throwing back to the transformative year that was 1962. This is old news. We begin with the Cuban Missile Crisis, the most dangerous confrontation of the Cold War. In October, American spy planes discovered Soviet nuclear missiles being installed in Cuba, just 90 miles from the U.S. coast. President John F. Kennedy responded by imposing a naval blockade around Cuba and demanding the removal of the missiles. For 13 tense days, the world stood on the brink of nuclear war as U.S. forces prepared for a possible invasion of Cuba. Behind the scenes, Kennedy and Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev negotiated intensely. Finally, on October 28th, Khrushchev agreed to remove the missiles in exchange for a U.S. pledge not to invade Cuba and a secret agreement to remove American missiles from Turkey. The crisis ended without conflict, but it left the world shaken by how close it had come to nuclear disaster. On the international front, the Cold War wasn't the only source of conflict. In Asia, China and India engaged in a brief but intense border war in the fall of 1962. The Sino-Indian War, fought over disputed Himalayan territories, resulted in a swift victory for China, which seized control of the Aksai Chin region. The conflict strained relations between the two countries and highlighted the ongoing geopolitical tensions in Asia. And John Glenn became the first American to orbit the Earth on February 20th aboard Friendship 7. Glenn completed 3 orbits in just under 5 hours, making the U.S. a strong contender in the space race against the Soviet Union. Glenn's successful mission was a major morale boost for the U.S., following earlier Soviet space achievements, and brought the dream of reaching the moon one step closer. The first communications satellite also launched. The Telstar 1 enabled the first live television broadcasts between Europe and North America, marking a key milestone in global telecommunications. And Philips introduced the compact audio cassette in '62, revolutionizing personal music storage and setting the stage for portable music players. Another invention this year was the first computer mouse by Douglas Engelbart at the Stanford Research Institute. 1962 was also another year of progress and struggle in the U.S. civil rights movement. James Meredith, an African-American, became the first black student to enroll at the University of Mississippi, known as Ole Miss. His enrollment was met with violent riots and opposition from segregationists, requiring federal intervention. President Kennedy sent in federal marshals and troops to escort Meredith, and after a fierce standoff that left 2 people dead, Meredith was able to begin classes. His courageous efforts symbolized the growing momentum of the civil rights movement, as federal action was increasingly required to enforce desegregation. And Sam Walton opened the first Walmart store in Rogers, Arkansas, with the goal of offering low prices and exceptional customer service. Walton's focus on cost-cutting strategies, including buying in bulk and passing savings onto customers, helped Walmart rapidly grow. By the 70s, the company expanded into a chain, and by the 80s, it became the world's largest retailer. Also, the first fully enclosed, climate-controlled shopping mall, Southdale Center, opened in Edina, Minnesota. It represented a shift in American consumer culture and foreshadowed the expansion of shopping malls across the country in the following decades. On screen, one of the most iconic films of all time, Lawrence of Arabia, premiered in 1962, telling the story of T.E. Lawrence and his adventures during World War I. The film, directed by David Lean and starring Peter O'Toole, was praised for its epic scope and stunning cinematography, winning 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, and Hanna-Barbera aired the first episode of The Jetsons, an animated sitcom set in a futuristic, utopian society in the year 2062. It became an iconic show, symbolizing the space-age era's hopes for flying cars, robot maids, and other advanced technology in daily life. In literature, Rachel Carson's groundbreaking book, Silent Spring, was published. The book exposed the dangers of pesticides, particularly DDT, and their devastating effects on the environment. It is often credited with launching the modern environmental movement and leading to the eventual ban on DDT in the US. As for music, the Beatles released their first single, Love Me Do, in the UK, but only reached number 17 on the charts. The Isley Brothers released Twist and Shout. The Beach Boys had Surfin' Safari, and Ray Charles with I Can't Stop Loving You. In sports, Wilt Chamberlain made history by scoring 100 points in a single NBA game. Playing for the Philadelphia Warriors, Chamberlain's record-setting performance against the New York Knicks remains one of the greatest individual feats in basketball history. And in 60s fashion, women embraced mini skirts, shift dresses, pillbox hats, and mod-inspired geometric prints, often in bright colors, reflecting the influence of icons like Twiggy and Jackie Kennedy. Men wore slimmer tailored suits, narrow ties, and turtlenecks, influenced by Ivy League and British mod styles. Go-go boots, bold accessories, and short hairstyles became popular across genders and marking a departure from the conservative 1950s. This has been old news, a year in review. In the words of Winston Churchill, those that fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Until next time, stay tuned and stay curious.